LeZevo likes to talk about life while he's shooting people in the face. LeZevo.
What is going on, everybody? It's LeZevo here again, and it's story time again. I know a lot of my new subs have been asking for this, and everyone seems to enjoy my cool story bros. And you know, I've been thinking about what to do next, and I got a couple ideas, but this is kind of what I decided on. This is going to be my story about how I was able to meet one of our former presidents. I don't think that happens a whole lot. I think the majority of people probably never get to meet a U.S. president. And it was kind of a cool experience, so I figured I'd tell you how it happened. I feel kind of like Forrest Gump here for some reason, like, but no, it didn't actually go down that way. Basically, what happened was I decided one summer, me and my roommate at the time, who's actually he'll probably be on my channel. Dr. Zalk is his name. He's probably my closest friend, and anyway, he was my roommate at the time, and we decided we were going to do Habitat for Humanity, and they kind of had a program going on that was happened to be in the Detroit area that summer, and it's what's called the Jimmy Carter Work Project. So Jimmy Carter is former president of the United States. He was the 39th president, and he is closely tied to Habitat for Humanity, and that kind of fits in with, he was sort of like a civil rights guy, you know. Kind of a down-home guy. I think he was a peanut farmer prior to becoming a president, and so he's real known for civil rights and kind of being just helping out the little guy. So that kind of fits in with what he's doing with Habitat for Humanity. He's been involved with them for a long time, and once a year, even now in his 80s, once a year he holds this event that's called the Jimmy Carter Work Project, and they pick one city around the world to do this in every year. It just so happened that in 2005 this took place in Detroit, and so me and my roommate said, you know what, we're gonna do this. We're gonna kind of go help build a house and help someone out that's less fortunate than us. And so we both took a week off work, used our vacation time, and signed up. So basically we show up the first day, and it's in downtown Detroit, and it's not, this isn't, I shouldn't even say downtown. This is in, like, it's in Detroit city limits, but it's not a good area. It's not some place you'd want to be, when the sun's going down. And so this is where they tell us to go and park. And my roommate had just gotten a brand new Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution, and he was driving that day. And he was like, "Man, I don't know if it's safe to park my car down here. This is crazy." And but anyway, it turned out it was all right. They had it pretty well guarded, but they had us park in a certain area, and then we got on a bus, and they would drop you off by the houses. And I want to say they were building something like 50 houses and 2 small playgrounds in this one neighborhood. So it was just a massive project that's happening. I mean, thousands of volunteers are there. And you show up, and they give you like a shirt, and they give you like this goofy looking hard hat. It was kind of looked like like a safari hat to me. It had like a nice brim around it. I don't know, maybe that was to keep the sun off your neck or something, but it was really goofy looking. Anyway, so they give you all this stuff when you check in, and they tell you what house to go to. And we were assigned to house number 2. I don't know why that matters to you guys, but it was house number 2. And so we show up, and the way they had kind of organized it was they already had the foundation done. So they had kind of the basement poured, and the subfloor was in, and that was it. There was no walls, there was nothing else. So the very first day we show up, our job is to basically get the structure up. So we had to raise the walls, get everything together, and then from there it was a matter of just basically putting the roof on, not even the shingles or anything, just getting the a roof on there. And then the next day we had off, and that's when they brought in all the plumbers and the electricians, and they went through and did that, because you got to be certified to do that. By the way, I'm not a handy guy. This is kind of out of my element. Like, I remember I bought a tool belt because I figured I'm going to show up with I'm going to have a belt. And the first thing the guy says that's running it is like, "Oh, looks like you're a newbie." My tool, most guys that work in construction, their tool belt is, that's their lifeline. They use it all the time. The thing's worn in, it's broken in, it looks manly. Mine's like brand new. You know, the leather's still like stiff, and he instantly called me out on it. And he was like, "Oh, there's a new guy right there." But you know, I'm kind of a big guy, so I figured that even if I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I could at least lift heavy things and, you know, bring it to you. If you needed giant pieces of wood or shingles, that was going to be my job if I couldn't figure out a way to help myself or help them any other way. But anyway, it turned out to be an awesome experience. We learned a ton of stuff, met a bunch of cool people. There was people from all over the country there. Real quick, a funny story. We met a guy named Jeremy who was actually, I think he was part of the Peace Corps, and he was kind of a bigger guy, and he was driving a Bobcat around all week, and he would kind of pick up all the trash and stuff at the end of the road. Well, somebody on one of the houses had thrown their trash in the middle of the street, right over like where this manhole cover was, and like I said, the whole place was torn up. I think they were redoing the streets. So picture a manhole cover in the middle of the street, but the cement hasn't even been poured around it, so the thing's probably sticking up, you know, 2 or 3 inches off the ground, and it's under this pile of trash. So he's running up to scoop it up with the Bobcat, and he just hits this manhole cover, just wham, and the whole Bobcat, like, almost, I mean, it tipped up on his front end, and he's got a lap belt on that's padded, but he went right into it, and he had this big black mark across his stomach, and man, it was the funniest thing. And then he was like, he's like, really, who puts their garbage on a manhole cover? But anyway, we met some awesome people, and it was just a really cool experience. It was a really cool weekend. So I guess the thing I should tell you, getting back to my story, is that Jimmy Carter is involved in this obviously every week. So he was actually working on a house. Him and his wife Rosalind, they're like in their 80s, still going strong. He's over there, you know, putting on siding and doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, he's probably built enough of these now where he can do it with his eyes closed. But he was working on one of the houses, and he makes a point to go through every house over at some point in the week, and he visits the people that are helping. And so there was one day, I think it was like Thursday of that week that we were there. We started on the previous Saturday. He made a point to come to our house, and kind of interesting because he shows up, and you know, the Secret Service comes over first, and they kind of say, okay, here's what's going down. And they show up, you know, they got their glasses on, they got like these fishing vests with, I don't know what's in the pockets, maybe like bullets and like, you know, I don't know, radio devices. But anyway, he shows up, and they kind of give us a rundown. They're like, he's gonna come in, he's gonna say hi to her, you turn around for pictures, you're gonna stay right here, not move. And you know, they're like giving us the rundown. I'm like, I need to pay attention to this, because if I screw this up, Secret Service is probably not going to hesitate to blast me, you know, if I like sneeze and make a sudden movement or something. So it was a little nerve-wracking, but it was pretty cool because he shows up, and he made a point to shake everybody's hand, so I got to, you know, meet him for 3 seconds. But it's kind of awe-inspiring when you meet a president. I don't know, it's like, even if I like, take George Bush for example. A lot of people don't like him, but if you were to meet him, that would be something that would be just an incredible experience, because he at one time was the leader of the free world. You know what I mean? That office has so much power and so much like prestige that it's just amazing to be in the presence of that. And so basically, it was just really, really kind of an awe-inspiring moment, and kind of a really cool thing. It was sort of a capped off just an amazing week. If you guys don't ever like volunteer or do something else with your time, I highly recommend that. It's one of the most rewarding things you can do. You'll probably learn a lot. You'll meet some awesome people, and you know, eventually you may even have a cool experience like getting to meet a president. I mean, that was wild. But anyway, this game's wrapping up. I was 42-3, and I didn't have any caps, but I was being a slayer for my team there. And this is a quick picture here of my team that I worked on the house with, and I'm in the back there on the far left in the back row, tall guy with the white thing on his head. But just wanted to prove to you, Jimmy Carter's there in the red shirt right in the middle, and that's his wife next to him on the right. And that's the house we built in the background. So it's legit. I got to meet a former president. It was a cool experience, and like I said, get out there, help some people less fortunate than you guys, and I'm sure you'll have a good time, and you'll feel pretty good about it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story. There's more to come. I got a couple more ideas for the next go round. So thanks a lot, everybody.